Hello, Facebook land, Instagram land. We are live. We're going to be doing a Q&A and just checking in with people, seeing how everybody's doing. We're getting all of our stuff up and running right now, but as promised, we are live at 7 o'clock, and hopefully everybody can tune in. And since we're all social distancing, hi, Kevin, then we're all here, all sitting at our computers and our phones and everything, and good time for us to check in with everybody. Hey, everybody. How you doing, Tiffany? I dragged Julius on camera.
And there's a little noodle.
Teaching come and called. Oh dear, yes, we'll probably cover that. Teaching the come command is really all about the mistakes more than it is about doing it right. And we make a whole lot of mistakes as people, and we can go into that as some more people join in for sure. That's a big one. Biggest thing is practice. People don't practice nearly enough. Let's check in here. Hi everybody. Good to see everyone joining. Hi Grace. Hi Alma. Hi Rhonda. How did I become a dog trainer? It's a long, weird story, but I wanted to be a dog when I was a kid. So my parents were completely embarrassed by me. I would bark at the guests, and I would crawl on my hands and feet in the grocery store. My mom still tells me that it went on for years, and she never knew if I was going to grow out of it. So definitely had a strong connection with dogs from the very beginning. But, I grew up in a house where, dogs were not a huge thing. My parents are not really dog people. And so, big issue that we had was because it wasn't such a big deal, I never really thought that a dog career was possible. So I went to college for a whole bunch of different stuff, and then I decided I wanted to try to be a vet and go to veterinary school, and that sure didn't work out. I saw a dog get hit by a car, and I think I bawled my eyes out for like 2 straight days. So I knew that calling wasn't for me, so I went and I got my degrees and everything else other than dog training, and I adopted a dog from the Humane Society, and I said, I want this dog to be the dog that goes everywhere with me, that does everything with me. And so I started YouTubing on, how the heck do I get a dog to walk on a leash? And I saw people who were calling themselves dog trainers and actually doing it as a career, and it blew my mind that someone could make a living doing dog training. And my heart and brain and soul just caught on fire after that, and it's just been nonstop ever since. Hi Rhonda, hi Stacy. Man, we got tons of people joining. Hi Cecil, good to see you here. Hopefully you guys are all handling this social distancing okay. I know it's been tough on a lot of people. We hear a lot of people that are struggling with it for sure, and I don't think it's hit us that hard because we've always been like homebodies. So I mean, aside from periodically going out to dinner, we're definitely homebodies. We're like, game night and stuff like that, and so we hear about all the social distancing and we come back home and we're like, well, you want to play dominoes again? It's kind of the same night for us.
It saves us from having to make a lot of excuses online. We don't want people to come over. Sorry.
It's so true. So many people, they invite us out, and we're definitely social, but we're homebodies. At the end of the night, we kind of like just hanging out. We like the quiet and stuff like that. So Stacy with the long place command, how long do you up the weight each time? It depends on the dog. So if the dog is really, really struggling, we want to try to make it as manageable as possible. So that might take a whole week to get the dog up to, just holding for 15, 20 minutes. If the dog's a little bit more advanced, or the dog is doing better with it or is a little bit more confident, I might have the dog holding an hour by the end of the week. It just depends on the dog. You always got to be fair and read the dog accurately. Loved playing dogs when you were a little girl. Well, at least I have one person who gets it. Funny. Hi Deb. Haven't seen you in a long time. Hopefully my hound girl is treating you well. She needs to have her own Instagram page, by the way. The Adventures of Debbie's Dog. Hi Chris. Good to see you. I'm just scrolling back because we've got both things going right now, so I just want to make sure that I'm able to keep up with everything that's coming on. And somebody was asking about the come command, and so I'll definitely get into that because I know a lot of people are going to have questions with that. But you folks can go ahead and ask your questions, and it doesn't have to be necessarily limited to dog training. Obviously happy to answer things like business questions and things like that, especially if you're a dog trainer or you're in the dog business or what have you. We're kind of in a day and age or a current time right now where business questions are probably on a lot of people's minds. And so if you have questions, you can go ahead and shoot those out too. But we're going to be here for a while to answer your questions. And I don't know if everybody knows Julius. Julius is my husband. I know I make things look really easy on camera and like everything just clicks and flows, and it really doesn't. There's a lot of stuff, that goes along in the background, and he handles the whole back end of the business. He's kind of the backbone here, so that I can go out and train dogs and, and all that sort of stuff. So Julius handles the marketing. He handles the IT stuff. He handles a lot of the social media stuff.
I cook.
And he cooks. How is Ecco doing? For anybody who doesn't know, Ecco is a dog that traveled to us from Minnesota. His owners brought him. He's got a lot of different aggression issues. He's still opening up, so we're seeing good days and off days with him. He's still definitely in that beginning section of board and train where we're getting to know one another. I haven't seen all of his true colors yet, so I'm cautious when I work with him. But I am, taking the good days and trying to make them even better days and trying to expound on that while also leveraging some respect with him and leveraging some communication with him and things like that. So that's going to take time. He hasn't fully opened up yet, and he's still reserved. The aggression hasn't fully reared its ugly head just yet. That time is coming. It'll probably be within this next week that I would assume we would start getting some pushback from him. But Ecco's here for food aggression, lots of aggression towards people, aggression towards other dogs, reactivity issues. So he's got a fair amount of stuff that we're working on, and right now we're just targeting building trust, respect, and communication. So I'm missing all sorts of stuff. Julius, you're supposed to be my wingman here. What dog trainers have influenced your training style, and who do you look up to? I really have to look up to Tyler Muto. I think he is the epitome of what a dog trainer should be. So if you don't know Tyler Muto, go check him out. He has the Canine Connection over in New York. Phenomenal dog trainer, and really, really gets down to the nitty gritty of what's going on with the dog, and he's really on the dog side. So that's super valuable. So he's definitely a trainer I look up to. He's definitely a trainer that has influenced me in the past. And he's definitely a trainer that I would watch in the future. Thank you for all the support with our 2 babies. They're doing really well, but they push us every day to see if we can hold them accountable. Hey, I believe you, Tisha. Those 2 goofs, they're going to push like crazy. Oh, man, I miss them so much. Send us pictures and videos, please. Mountain Paw, how are you doing? We're going to be heading over there for some dog food pretty soon. My dogs just go through food like crazy. I think we've already gone through like half of what we got from you just a little while ago. Let's check in here. Getting our baby in 6 weeks. Been 19 years since we had a dog. What is most important? We can be told outside of having supplies. Thank you. Love your knowledge sharing. Getting a brand new puppy, I can't emphasize this enough. And I think Julius hears me say this about a million times. I hear him say it over the phone. Stop trying to get your little puppy to do obedience. Just let go of the whole obedience thing for quite a while. Wait till your dog is 4 months old, before you're even going down that road. Right now, you want to create a confident puppy. So make everything a game. Bring out food for everything. Get that dog around different noises, different textures under its feet. Get it around new people. Get it around kids. Get it around skateboards and all that sort of stuff. so that it can start being exposed to those things and trying to have a good experience. That doesn't mean that your puppy should interact with every person, should interact with every child, should be right in the heat of things. Just play a game with the puppy near those things. Your puppy doesn't have to say hi to every single person. It shouldn't say hi to every single person. Shouldn't say hi to every single kid. It shouldn't say hi to every single dog. Absolutely not, because most of those circumstances are going to go badly. Just play a game near that area. Build up your dog. You want to build a confident dog in these formative months. What you build right now carries over for a very large majority of their life, and sometimes their entire life. You want to build as confident as possible. Obedience can be trained at any time. We have 10-year-old dogs that check in for board and train that we train for obedience that never knew a single thing. Obedience can be trained at any time, but building a strong, confident, happy dog really, really happens in those that first 6 months of life. Building a lot of that in there is really, really critical. So spend your time getting your dog as confident as possible. I almost want your dog being cocky at 6 months of age, rather than being cowering and submissive. So, is it cheating if your dog falls asleep during place command? Heck no, it's exactly what you want them to do. Hi, Dawn. Good to see you here. She'll be 8 weeks old. Yeah, absolutely. Confidence, confidence, confidence. Good job.
We should give a shout out to these people. Just give them a little more information about them.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got Mountain Paw here watching. If you folks don't know what Mountain Paw is, it's a pet store here in Post Falls. We're absolutely in love with them. If you're looking for dog food, because I know the stores are kind of getting crazy. If you're looking for dog food, go out and see Mountain Paw. They got everything that you could possibly need. We shop for our own dogs there. Really nice, quaint little pet store. It's over on Highway 41. Yep. Kind of by Sonic over there on Highway 41, a little strip mall. Mountain Paw, awesome place. But they have just about everything that you could be looking for dog stuff. And if they don't have it, I guarantee you they can order it. So go check them out for sure. How does online training work? With our system, online training is right now we have our basic foundations class available online. So basic foundations class is kind of like a basic obedience class, but it is like supercharged. So you're learning obedience, but that's really not the forefront of the class. You're going to be learning communication. So how to coach your dog, how to talk to your dog. So you're going to be learning about dog history, dog behavior, dog psychology, how to work your dog through behavioral problems. That is available online. And so it's a pre-filmed course that's broken down into many, many segments and many, many exercises for you to start working your dog at home. It tells you what you should be looking for, what next stages you should be looking for, what you should be doing in each particular stage, how the dog thinks, how they should be responding, and a lot of that stuff so that you can really start laying a strong foundation with your dogs at home.
On that note, too, some of the additional value to that, quite honestly, is with their live classes, with the classes, one and done. With the online classes, you have access to that material, for a very long time, if not indefinitely, so that you're able to go back and review it over if you want to. So we've got a lot of really positive feedback from it, and a lot of effort went into the online class to make sure that it was, top notch, and everything that needed to be was there. So, and then of course you always have access to us, or to Stephanie, I should say, afterwards if you have questions, comments, or concerns. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Advice for preventing separation anxiety in a dog while being in shelter in place. So you definitely really want to be utilizing your crate, even though you're home. A lot of times people think that the crate is just something that you use when you leave. Crate your dog while you're home and do it on and off at different times throughout the day. Sometimes it's for 20 minutes, sometimes it's for an hour and a half. But teaching your dog that it's okay to be away from you. In addition to that's kind of an easy one. But in addition to that, teach your dog the place command that even if they're in the same room, they don't necessarily need to be in your lap to be able to coexist with you. So you can be watching Netflix or whatever it is that you're enjoying at this point in time. And your dog can be on their place bed in the corner just hanging out rather than right next to you, because affection is addicting to dogs. And so it's almost like a drug. The more that they have it, the more they tend to need it. And when you start going back to work, maybe your dog 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago did not have any separation anxiety or any issues like that, and your dog was just fine. But dogs are absolutely creatures of habit, and they do become addicted per se to that affection very quickly. So 2 weeks later, you can go back to work and your dog can be highly destructive. The dog can be pooping and peeing in the house. Your dog can be destructive in their crate. Your dog can be crying and whining and barking all day, simply because that addiction built in 2 weeks. No different than with a human being. You try a particular drug or something like that, you can be hooked on it by the end of a 2 week period, especially if it's kind of a constant thing. So definitely kind of keep your dogs at bay. It shouldn't be constant affection. Try to limit that and keep that kind of where it was while you were working. You can also do stuff where the dog is holding place even while you go outside. You can even practice drills where you're getting in your car and going up and down the driveway, working on your keeping the dog in place and all that sort of stuff. There's still going to be a little bit of a risk with separation anxiety simply because you're present. But if you're doing a lot of this, you should hopefully avoid, the major blow-ups when you try to head back to work. All right, heading over to, I forget which one of these is Instagram. That one's Instagram, this one's Facebook. Sarah on Facebook. How do I get an elderly dog to stop nipping the younger dog, especially since the other dog is so much bigger?
You can't. No, I'm just kidding.
Is your elderly dog nipping the younger dog because the younger dog is pestering them? Because that issue might actually be resolved by advocating for the older dog more. And I would do that anyway. I would advocate. So that would mean anytime your younger dog's going to go get in the space of that older dog, I would just use a leash and back them up and say, knock it off. This older dog's not a big fan of you, so just leave it be. If the younger dog's really not been much of an issue, and the older dog is kind of like just seeking that out, you're going to have to correct the dog. So leave your dog on leash for a while. Anytime you see the dog kind of getting in that mode, give it a firm poke to the rib cage, firm poke to the thigh, and move the dog away with the leash and just let the dog know that that's not acceptable behavior. Because if you don't check it now, it could very easily become, something more aggressive in the future. And if your younger dog finally gets to the point where they're done tolerating that, it might turn into a fight. And if your older dog is feeling pestered by the younger dog, it might escalate its correction and turn it into a fight as well. So definitely, 50% correction, 50% advocacy is always a really good mixture when you're dealing with issues like that in the home. Eric,
hold that thought for 1 second. So she's been dying to say hello and she's going all over the place.
Leia's here.
So we've always been very protective of our daughter being online and everything. But she's been dying to come on. So this is Leia. She is our only child. She's 8 as of last 2 weeks ago now. On the 14th. I don't know how many days have gone by. We've been in quarantine. But anyway, she's the very first girl to be born in my bloodline in over 100 years now, and she loves hearing that, and that's why she's poking her ears. So that's that. Go ahead and say hello, and then you're gonna go back to go and do other stuff. Very good. All right.
Yeah.
All right. See.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Anne. Good to see you. We need videos and pictures of Clover, okay? We like seeing you, but we like seeing Clover too. Erica on Facebook asks, what do you do with a puppy who shreds their blanket in their kennel? I would definitely not give the puppy a blanket until they get a little bit older. So they got to learn just to lay on the... Oh, you want to be part of this too?
Well, I see half my face.
You were in more of it before.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I would just take the blanket away till the puppy gets a little bit older. Our dog Genesis is a perpetual puppy. So she hasn't had a bed ever, and I don't know if she'll ever have a bed. So the second it gets in there, it's popped into 100 pieces. So, I would they're perfectly fine just to lay on the bottom of the crate or something like that. Don't stress about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going.
Haley Welch, can you recommend any trainers in Oregon? We have a 3-year-old German Shepherd, and she's afraid to let people touch her. We don't know where she gets this from. We do recommend a very awesome trainer, Method Canine in Post Falls, Idaho. They take dogs from Oregon all the time. So, check them out. It's METHOD, the letter K, the number 9.com. There's a wonderful trainer. Her name is Stephanie Vachinsky, and she is awesome and will certainly help you out.
Haley, and in addition to that, she's afraid to let people touch her. If your dog is telling you that and you know that, don't let people touch her. Completely advocate for her. To anybody that wants to look at her, talk to her, make eye contact, get in her space, try to reach out and pet her, back them up, get in between them with your body and say, oh, nope, sorry, she's a little bit nervous. You're going to start to see a totally different dog, a much more confident dog, much more relaxed dog. What are some good resources for training two dogs at once? I wouldn't say there's any resources. It's going to be a matter of training each dog individually and then training them together. I would strongly recommend, our online course, the Basic Foundation class is a really great place to start. Teach both dogs individually everything, and then you're pretty much starting over once you start putting them together. But because you have clear communication laid down, you can get through the process much faster once you start putting the two dogs together. If you don't do it that way, it's going to be a night where you're both going to be, all three of you are going to be highly frustrated.
That's a good question.
Auntie M on Instagram. My pup gets so excited when meeting people. He follows the sit command, but then jumps in excitement. How do we get him to stop jumping? You got to take away the attention. So I would say for the next 5 times that people come over, you're going to keep your dog on leash. Anytime that your dog attempts to jump up, give a firm pop on that leash, tell them nope, and send the dog on their way. Don't let your guests interact with the dog at all during those 5 visits. Next time that your guests come over after that 5th visit number 6, and your guests come in, you're going to play the excuse me game. You're going to teach your dog that there's a right way to ask for attention and there's a wrong way to ask for attention. So just like we do with our child, there's a right way to interrupt mom and dad and there's a wrong way to interrupt mom and dad. The right way is to say, excuse me. The wrong way is to come interrupt us and say, I want juice now, right? That's inappropriate. So when we're dealing with our dogs, jumping's an inappropriate way to ask for attention. So if the dog jumps, they'll immediately get a knee, they'll get a poke, they'll get a firm pop on the leash and sent on their way. They messed up their opportunity to ask for attention. So don't make the mistake of your dog jumps up on you, goes back down, and because it's back down, you pet it. Your dog lost the opportunity for the pet, okay? Because they learn in sequences. So if it starts with jumping and ends with petting, they're still going to start the sequence with jumping. So if they jump up, they immediately get corrected, and everybody takes their attention away from the dog. We're going to ignore the dog. Back up, take off, go do something else. If the dog approaches you later on in the same day and approaches you correctly, which is 4 feet on the floor, and they kind of come up and you can see that they want attention, absolutely give them attention. But for the first 5 meetings, no attention whatsoever. They have to learn that it's not about them. All right, we're jumping back over to Facebook here with Tina. I have a black lab and he's 11 months and he jumps like a grasshopper. I've been putting my leg up when he tries to tackle me. And it has worked sometimes, but not always. He probably needs a more consistent, firm correction, Tina. I would put a leash on the dog and give a stronger correction with the leash, probably in unison with the knee, to help the dog understand. Also, play the excuse me game. There's a right way and wrong way to approach. And the last component is if your dog is continuing to do this behavior, you really have to look at how is my dog interacting with everybody else? Because if you're really diligent about this, you all done?
No, I'm not done. I just...
if you're really diligent about this, but the other people in your home or your guests are not, the dog is still finding value in that behavior and they're still going to continue it, even if it's just once in a while. So make sure everybody else in your family and your circle are doing the same things. What is the most valuable lesson you can impart on building a respectful relationship with any dog? Everything is permission-based. So the dog needs permission to eat its food. The dog needs permission to exit its kennel, to enter its kennel. Dog needs permission to sit with your guests. Dog needs permission to get up on the couch or off of the couch, in the car, out of the car, jump in the sprinkler, jump in the lake, go for a walk, go in the front door, go out the front door. It needs to request permission for affection. This is going to create respect because it shows the dogs that you control everything. You are in full control. And on top of that, if you're handling that control correctly, it's going to show your dog that you also have their best interests at heart, which creates a genuine love for leadership, which is what all dogs are looking for. So that's where I would start. Kelly, my lab has anxiety and has a hard time when I leave. I found kenneling her while I'm at work helps. Any tips? Definitely keep up with the kenneling, and while you're home, really work on that place command. If you don't know anything about place command, go check out our YouTube page. You can see full training sessions on place command and really learn a lot about why we use it and how beneficial it is. But it's a really good way of teaching your dog that even when you're home, it's okay to be separate too, which is also going to help when you leave because your dog is stronger about it. Hi, Lori.
There's no more there.
Oops. I'm not good at this. This is why Julius is here, because I am not the tech master. He is the tech master.
But you have to actually let me do it, though, and set it up. So, see, I just got a correction. You like that? She
he gets a lot of corrections. He gets nopes a lot.
And I've been poked before, too, and it's not fun.
We've been married 10 years. It's okay now.
10 years in this August. How exciting is that?
That's right.
She's lasted longer than anyone else.
Woo. That's just because I'm stubborn. Jessica, I just moved with a family of 3 dogs. Mine is a year-old female. She gets along.
Moved with a family of 3 dogs. So.
Well, it says moved to with a family. So
I think it's supposed to be moved in.
Moved with a family with 3 other dogs. Mine is a year-old female. She gets along with all the dogs besides the oldest female, and there's a female puppy and a male her age. Once I fix her, will that help? My guess is no. People think that the spaying and neutering is just some magical cure. It takes down a tiny bit of territorialness. Your dog is still going to be highly territorial. If the females are having issues with one another, that's a lack of structure on our part. And so dogs are definitely looking for leadership. They're looking to establish a hierarchy. And if we are not at the top of that hierarchy, dogs are going to start, definitely handling themselves. I don't know if you've ever seen or read Lord of the Flies, but that's absolutely what it turns into. And that's how dogs would handle it in the wild. That's how wolves would handle it in the wild. So we need to make sure that our leadership is very strong. So we tell the dogs how to walk, how to eat, how to sleep, how to be together. I have 2 females, and my younger female came into the home expecting to just to walk all over everybody and walk all over my older dog. I did not allow it. I was very, very strict with her, especially the first 6 months of owning her. I was incredibly strict with her. And now she shows a great deal of respect to my older dog. Same thing with my youngest dog, Clark. He's male, but he is definitely by far the most powerful. He's the youngest. He has the most strength, the most endurance, and he tried to come in and be very, very pushy. And I definitely had to be very strict with him, very firm with him, for quite a while, so that he learns to respect my oldest female. I don't ever want my oldest female to feel like she has to protect herself or that she has to do any of that. So that's a lot of advocacy on my part. But on top of that, if my oldest female was taking things into her own hands, and even though she was being advocated for, she was saying, well, I'm top dog here, you don't get to do those things, I'd have to put her in her place as well. And so that comes with obedience, that comes with a lot of structure, how they walk, how they eat, how they sleep, how they interact with your guests, how they interact with one another. Leaving leashes on your dogs while you are home and can supervise can really help de-escalate a lot of issues, because you have physical control over the dog, where you can say, knock it off, and remember your poke. If you see a dog that's getting tense or trying to make its own decisions, give a poke, move the dog out of the way, say, you don't make those decisions here, I make those decisions here, and I'm going to help you make the right decision. So hopefully that helps.
What does our daughter want to be when she grows up? She'll tell you that she wants to be a dog trainer. She said that on more than one occasion. But she has a really just a huge love for math and science. So, we talked to her about stuff and whatnot. She's talked about, the potential of being, wanting to be a doctor, all the things that little kids would say typically. But her love for science is really just, really strong. I mean, just
she has a really big love for cooking as well.
Yeah.
She has a really sophisticated palate, which drives us nuts.
Thank you to Grandma.
Yeah, which drives us nuts because...
Does this have basil in it?
There's no such thing as, hey, Leia, can we give you a corn dog for dinner? She wants filet of sole with, Parmesan and garlic crust on it and, and sauteed garlic and onions, She'll sit over, kids eat popcorn in front of the TV and... I can't get her to do that. She'll go to Grandma's cilantro plant and pull off all the leaves of cilantro and sit and eat those in front of the TV and stuff like that. So, getting her to eat pizza, she won't try ketchup for anything. Getting her to eat French fries or whatever. We finally got her to eat a hamburger.
And she was like, this is really good.
She's like, this is good, but, she can take a bite of something and she can tell you everything that's in it. She'll be like, yeah, I taste the garlic and onion, but do you have thyme in there as well? And it's just like, who are you? So, that might be in her future too. So I would love that. If she wants to cook for me, I'm happy. Let's see. What a sweetie. I agree.
I'm already taking care of this for you.
Oh,
I'm trying to assist you and make this easy by scrolling through. So we're getting everybody.
See, I just got a note too. No. Guarding human bed. You see, you're skipping that. Guarding human bed when husband A.
Yeah. Well,
so if your dog is starting to become possessive over the bed, which is a huge problem, you got to take that privilege away completely. So the dog needs to be told and leave the leash on the dog. And if you need a longer leash, your dog's starting to become aggressive, leave a 10-15 foot leash on that dog. And anytime that dog gets out on the bed, give it a nope, grab the leash, pull it off. This is not your spot. And so you've elevated that dog in the hierarchy to a place where it feels that it deserves and should be able to act that way. It's completely unacceptable. You and your husband need to be up here in the hierarchy. The bed is not for that dog. That dog is abusing essentially being in that status and trying to go up to the higher level. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. It said it's reconnecting.
Oh, okay. All right. Hi, Tracy. Anna Harvey says you're the best and thanks you for all the love and training you gave him. I missed that big dope. I hope he's gaining weight now. Hi, Andy. Hi, Judith. Alma, I have huskies. They are a breed of love new people. Okay. Rhonda.
Yeah, what kind of dog food?
What kind of dog food do you buy for them? My dogs shift. When I have the time, I like my dogs to eat raw. There's a few different kinds, so you can do your research on raw. You can make raw yourself. Make sure that you are getting all the components correct. You can also buy pre-made raw, stuff like that on sometimes weeks or months when I'm incredibly busy, and which is often. My dogs will eat kibble. We really like Signature. It's the only thing that, the only kibble that Lumen does well on, the only thing that her skin and coat do well on. It's a single protein food. And so we've tested it with Jen and Lumen, and they both, not Jen and Lumen, but Jen and Clark, and they both do great on it. So if I have to switch to kibble, a lot of times I'll do Signature, and I think it's a good food. So
we're gonna throw out the Mountain Paw again. That
Mountain Paw carries Signature now.
Yeah, if you have questions about the different types of foods and whatnot, and what they might have to offer, definitely talk to those folks over there.
Sorry, we're popular. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Casey. Hi, Liz. I hope you're feeling better. Your girl is well taken care of here. We've got her covered. Casey, what's a good way to introduce a nervous, anxious dog to a new dog? Take them on a really nice walk together, side by side. Not too close that there's any type of pressure, but the walk does a couple of different things. One, it allows them to get used to each other's energies and each other's smells without actually having any type of confrontation. Two, both dogs are in flight the entire time, so they don't feel the need to really become aggressive or go into that fight mode because they're already in flight. They're already moving away from the situation at all times. So that's a really awesome way. You can have both dogs starting side by side. And then dogs should typically greet one another by smelling each other's butts. So I know it sounds gross to us, but it is polite. It's like a way of shaking hands with somebody. Face-to-face meetings are usually a little too intense. It's not as soft as sniffing each other's butts. So I'll have both dogs walking side by side, and then I'll allow one dog to get in front and the dog behind to take a little bit of a sniff, and then we go side by side, and then I'll rotate and let that dog take a little bit of a sniff, so they're kind of getting to know one another. If you feel that went really well, then you can start taking more steps on having them interact a little bit more. If you're worried about aggression or anything like that, make sure the dogs are muzzled before you move on any further. Am I heading over here now?
Yep.
Okay, you're in charge. All right, Moto Concepts. My 8-month-old German Shepherd goes crazy when we get home from a car ride and barges out of the car, then runs around crying. What's the best training technique to get her to control herself? So you have a dog that's reached an overstimulated point car ride and barges out of the car. So the dog's actually in the car. Teach the dog to hold the down command in the car while you're driving. So this is going to help reduce all of that anxiety and everything that's building inside the car. Hold the down. When you stop the car and you're getting ready to let the dog out, the dog cannot exit the car until it is calm. So we do this all the time. Every single time we put a board and train into the car, every single time that we open the door, the dog must wait. You're going to utilize the door of your car to help this. So if you have like a back end, like a trunk, open it a little bit. If your dog tries to bulldoze out, pop, 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 close that door, close that door, close that door, close that door. You can even bump the dog a couple of times with it, but you're going to wait. And something else that you can do is if we have dogs that we're really worried about bulldozing past us or something like that, you can leave their leash kind of hanging out the back end and close the door on their leash so that you actually have the leash in your hand when you're opening it. That way your dog can't actually escape. But if a dog happens to actually bulldoze past me, and I can't actually stop them with that door, if they bulldoze past me, guess what? We go back in the car. And if you do it again, we go back in the car. You do it again, we go back in the car. And I will not let you out of the car until you're soft, you're relaxed, and you make eye contact with me, and I give you a word, a release like okay or yes or free or something like that to get out of the car. The more you practice this and the more strict you are about it, the better your dog will get. In the very first time that you do this, you might actually be sitting there with your dog in the trunk waiting to get out of it for like a half an hour. Sometimes our first field trip with a board and train dog is nothing but that. So that's a great way to start. Leia, Erica says she loves your glasses.
Thank you.
She says thank you. Guarding bed when husband approaches. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Get that dog off of the bed. Give it a correction. Don't let it on there ever again. That dog has elevated itself to a place that he thinks he's above the husband. It's not acceptable, ever. My dog barks on leash at other dogs and people. What's the deal? Two different things. Either your dog's really insecure about people or other dogs, and your dog is barking to try to create space for itself. Or two, your dog is highly frustrated and they want to go see those people. So they're barking and they're getting frustrated because they're restrained. Best way to do it is go lots of places and teach your dog that it's not about saying hi to anybody, that we're not going to do that. Another thing, anytime that you're walking and you have your dog on a leash, anytime that your dog wants to get worked up, I want you to instantly turn into that dog and go the opposite direction and keep doing it back to back to back to back to back. Every time the dog wants to get worked up about the environment, teach them, now, every time you check out, I'm going to do something crazy, okay? Go check out our YouTube page for a full tutorial on that move. It's called a V-turn. You can check it. It's like a 10-minute video or something like that, going completely over how to stop leash pulling and work on that reactivity. So, Courtney, are you still planning on coming out in Redmond, Washington for the seminar in May? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, at this point in time.
At this point in time, we don't have any reason to cancel.
Unless something happens where they lock it down or there's some,
Yeah.
At this point in time, if for some reason that pans out where, we simply are not allowed to come for whatever reason, then we'll let everybody know and make sure that we make it all right with everyone. But at this point in time, that's still on the books, and we have no reason to believe that would be changing.
Yeah, it's still about 6 weeks out. So this whole, virus thing is changing every day.
What are you doing?
So right now, all we can say is that we have postponed the classes that we had scheduled for March.
Water?
Everything other than that is still in the works right now.
This is the chemical food.
Oops, man, I am not good at this. See, I just need to let him take over. I just need to train dogs.
Okay.
You want to take over? Because
I do. I love you so much.
I'm going to jump over to this one. I do better on this side. Lori, what are your feelings on bark collars? Abby is a barker. We use bark collars all the time. We don't have any issue with it. It's a really great way of helping the dog learn to relax. Make sure that you are picking the right type of bark collar. So we use the Barkless Pro from eCollar Technologies. It's got a lot of really great features. But we like the Barkless Pro because it senses vibration. It does not operate off of decibels. So cheap bark collars simply operate off of decibels or sound, which means that if a dog barks near them or a loud noise goes off near them, it's going to go off on your dog, even if your dog didn't bark. So the eCollar Technologies bark collar actually has 3 different prongs on it. One of those is a vibration sensor, and it'll only go off if it feels your particular dog barking. Does a lot of other cool features. So one, it has a bark counter on the top of it, so you can look and see how many times it had to correct your dog for barking. In addition to that, it has 9, I guess technically 10 stimulation levels. So the first one is vibrate, which you can totally start on, and then it goes level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. What we typically do when dogs come in for board and train and we're trying to help them associate the bark collar with their barking is we'll put it on them and we'll set it to the vibrate setting. It certainly won't stop any type of barking unless your dog is very, very sensitive. It won't stop any type of barking. But we want the dog to understand that every time they bark, that vibration goes off. So they're starting to understand, oh, it's my barking, but, I don't care. But then we can go to level 1 and the dog will bark and they'll feel it and they go, well, I don't care about that either. And then we can go to level 2 over time. This is over, a couple of weeks. Work up to that level 2. And then usually level 2 is plenty for most bigger dogs. Well, level 1 might be plenty for a smaller dog. And when I say plenty, you're not looking to send the dog through the roof with, anything like that. What you're trying to do is just interrupt the dog. So what I like to see is a dog barks and then they go, and they kind of look around the room like, what was that? Who tapped me? What was that? That's kind of the level that I'm looking for that interrupts the dog's barking. And it's really important to interrupt barking. Barking is an escalation of... Shh. See, I'm getting made fun of. Barking is an escalation of energy. It can be an escalation of anxiety, an escalation of arousal. If your dog's excited playing or something like that, that's not a big deal. But if they're doing that while you're trying to put them in a kennel, or you're doing that while they're in the backyard and they're getting overstimulated at the fence lines or whatever, you definitely want to take those levels down, because that type of energy bleeds over into the walk. It bleeds over when guests come in. It bleeds over into how they play with other dogs, and you wind up with a dog that's consistently overstimulated, and that's when they make poor decisions like biting people and getting into dog fights and stuff like that.
You need some water.
I do?
You do? I can hear it. Shh. Right here.
Can 2 dogs who have had scuffles in the past, no bites but growling and lunging, end up living together in harmony? I would say yes, absolutely. You have to take a super, super diligent role in that, meaning that you have to be the most selfish, micromanaging person on the planet to make sure that they fully understand who's going to be making the decisions and who calls the shots, so that they're not taking into question whether or not they should be doing that, whether or not they should be growling or protecting themselves or whatever. You really have to step in. So if you see one dog, bullying another dog a little bit or pushing them a little too far, get in that dog's face, tell them to back up and get out of there and protect your other dog. Then your other dog won't feel the need to escalate a correction. And then the other dog's gonna start getting used to being corrected by you, so that you could even just later on in the future say, hey, and the dog's like, I'm listening, I hear you, and they go on their merry way. So you definitely really have to put yourself in between everything and really, really show them exactly what you expect from them. You can't leave it up to dogs. Dogs will always act like dogs, and it's a very primitive way of handling things.
It was a very good question, Malin Hall 18. We'll start calling people out.
Hey.
Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie.
Nope.
See, you're not any better at that. Shh. My 7-year-old Chihuahua,
Ruthie B.
Ruthie B. My 7-year-old Chihuahua Terrier makes rescues, sometimes growls and snaps if you pet him while he is sitting on the couch or in bed. He's gotten much better since I adopted him 3 months ago, but he still does it sometimes. What is the appropriate response? You got to take away the couch and the bed for a while. And then you have to start teaching the dog that there is a safe place for them to go, like place command. So that would be a dog bed where nobody's going to bother them. So that if you are feeling stressed out or anything like that, that's where you go. So to start instilling that rule, leave a leash on your dog whenever you are home and able to supervise. Anytime the dog hops up on the couch or the bed, grab that leash, tell them nope, move them off. If they want to lay down, they can go lay down in their own bed. But you don't want that dog getting into that mindset. You don't want to be sharing those particular spaces for a while until that dog is better. So, okay. Candace on Facebook. My dog needs a haircut, but he is very reactive. He shows his teeth if we get near his face. He freaks out if the scissors or razor is near him. Help. Well, I would start with muzzle conditioning the dog. It's not going to help you with trimming his face, but muzzle condition the dog. And then what I would start doing is breaking that whole grooming process down in really, really small pieces. So I would start by grooming the rest of his body first before you attempt to groom his face. Show him the scissors and give him a marker word that tells him he's going to receive a reward. We use yes in our system, but you can say free or okay or whatever you want. So if I have a dog, I'll show them the scissors. I'll say yes, I'll feed him. Show him, yes, feed him. Show him, yes, feed him. Maybe even get the scissors near them. Or handle the part of their face where I intend on touching, or the neck. Yes, feed them. Yes, feed them. Yes, feed them. Yes, feed them. The yes marker, if you do it enough, releases dopamine into the brain. So it starts to change the brain and how they perceive that particular situation. Dopamine is the chemical in your brain that makes you feel good. So the more we can interject that into the brain during the grooming process, the more relaxed your dog starts to become. So do that a lot. Then maybe do a little snip on the neck, give him a yes marker. A little snip on the neck, give him a yes marker. A little snip up here, give him a yes marker, call it quits. Do it every single day with that yes marker over and over and over again. When your dog curls its lip, I want you to tell it nope and give it a poke, right? Nope, give it a firm poke. Hey, I don't want you to do that. Everything is fine. Then give it a snip and give it a yes. Give it a snip, give it a yes. Give it a snip, give it a yes. And then do that a lot, getting incrementally closer and closer and closer to the face. And you should be able to, if you've taken your time with it, you should be able to eventually be trimming the face without a problem. So if we have dogs that are really aggressive with like their nails or something like that, we'll start the process. If they come in for board and train, if they're here for like a 6-week board and train, I'll start the process probably at the end of week 1, and I will do it every single day until the dog goes home on week 6 to get a nice, smooth dog that doesn't have reactivity towards the owner. So that tells you how much time and effort really goes into getting the dog comfortable with that. So be really diligent. Royce the Bully. What size prong collar is appropriate for an 80-pound American Bully? The largest prong collar that we use is the 3.0 or the, is it 16 or, no, it's just 16 inch. Mm-hmm. The 16 inch or 3.0 millimeter Hermsprenger. We don't recommend any other type of prong collar other than the Hermsprenger. The cheaper brands, I know they're going to save you a buck, are highly dangerous. Please don't ever use them. The Hermsprenger is awesome. It's very, very safe. Please make sure that you're only using it on your dog when you're training. It can't stay on all day, every day, and it should not replace their standard collar with their tags on.
And when you feel the tips of the prong, they should be rounded and almost feeling soft. We've done a lot of sourcing for those, and there was times that we purchased them for our clients and found that even when we bought them from like Amazon or other places like that, that they when we got them in, they were all knockoffs. And so really the issue with the knockoff is when they're made, the tip of the prong is cut off or even cut off on an angle where it was sharp, and that's just terrible. So you have to be really, really diligent when you're buying them. You know, I wouldn't buy them off of eBay. I would actually go to Chewy.com to get them because...
actually, I take that back. If you're local, you're going to go to Mountain Paw because they now carry the right Hermsprengers. But if you're not local, Chewy is awesome.
There you go. So, but yeah, be really, really diligent about that because for as many as we've purchased over the past, I don't know how many years now, we've had a fair share that came in that were just totally bogus, and we had to return them all in large sums. So just be really diligent about that.
And if you're in the Spokane area, Urban Canine is another fantastic place to shop. Excuse me. So Mountain Paw's a little bit more all the way in Post Falls, but if you're on like the north side of
Worth the
Spokane,
drive, though.
Yeah, if you're on the north side of Spokane,
Still drive there.
so Urban Canine is also really awesome, and they have a few locations in Spokane as well. Rhonda on Facebook. Can a cat chaser be trained to leave them alone? Absolutely. Hi, Joe. Love you. Kim, love your guidance. Thank you for all you do to create happy, healthy homes. Love you, Kim. Sarah, thank you so much. You're absolutely welcome. Mrs. Young says
Leia.
hi to you, Leia.
Mrs. Young's on there, and she says hi.
Hi, Mrs. Young.
Leia's saying hi to you, Kim, if you're still watching. All right, Grace. Oh, wow, that's so true. We had a 3-day weekend and spent a lot of time with our dog. The following week, when we went back to work, my husband came home with poop on the carpet. All right, I have to say something about this. How many times do we get the question or we get told that my dog pooped on the carpet because it's pissed that I went back to work? Or my dog peed because it's angry that I have a new girlfriend, so it peed on her blanket or whatever. Dogs do not feel emotions the way that we do. So they're not feeling resentment when you go back or anything like that. But dogs are highly, highly sensitive to changes in routine. And dogs typically display stress through anxiety, aggression, potty issues, destructiveness. Any change of routine is going to throw your dog completely off. It's just like kids. If our daughter, she's got a pretty strict bedtime. She's got to go to bed at a certain time. She eats dinner at a certain time. If that gets thrown off, if we feed her way too late, she doesn't go to sleep when she's supposed to. And she wakes up with a tummy ache. And the next day, she doesn't really want breakfast, right? Everything's thrown off. So she goes to school, and school is off. And the next day, we're trying to get her back on the right sleep schedule. And just from having one night that's off, it takes 3 days to get her back on track. Your dog is the same way. So if there's a big change, and sometimes it can be even a small change, and your dog is struggling with it, you're going to see it in destructive behavior. You're going to see it in pooping and peeing and stuff like that. You have to go back to the structure. You have to get on top of that dog and say, this is how we eat, this is how we sleep, and this is when we do it, and this is when we do it when my new girlfriend is here, and this is when we do it when I have a 3-day weekend or whatever. Just really, really be diligent during any type of changes. So if you're moving houses, your kids are going back to school, all of that sort of stuff throws your dogs off a lot. It is not because your dog is pissed at you.
And on that note, when you're cleaning the poo, I'm sure you already did this, but you definitely want to use an enzymatic cleaner in order to get rid of the scent. Because we've had a lot of people say, our dog keeps just going no matter what we do. It keeps going to the bathroom in the same spot. If they smell that they used to be able to potty there, or they did potty at one point in time, or even if you move into a new rental or move into a new house that has pre-existing, carpeting or something like that, it's very likely that a dog did go there at some point in time. And even though you cleaned it so that it smells fine to us, the dogs can still smell that potty happened there at one point in time, so often they'll go there again. So using something like was it Nature's Miracle or Otoban?
Yeah,
those things.
No, Otoban doesn't have enzymes in it, but Nature's Miracle
Sorry
does.
to bother you. Nature's Miracle. That'll take care of it. So
very cool. Jessam3 on Instagram. What is the first set you teach people with leash reactive dogs? I have a 7-year-old Collie Shepherd cross dog. We signed up more training because of COVID-19. Well, the first thing you got to teach a reactive dog is how you communicate. So what your words mean, what your body means, what your leash means. You got to teach the dog to walk on a leash, and those are all things that you should be doing away from stressors that cause reactivity. Then when you actually go into dealing with an issue where your dog is becoming reactive, you have a say in the matter. You can actually communicate with the dog. So it doesn't help if you speak German and your dog speaks Spanish and you're going into a really challenging situation that you need to help your dog through. You have to both be speaking German and both be speaking Spanish. So you have to create those languages. So definitely look into either our YouTube page or our Facebook page or Instagram page. We've got tons and tons of videos. You can sign up for our online class. It would be something that would be way too challenging for me to go into full detail, but teach the dog to walk on a leash. Definitely doing that V-turn, which is also on our YouTube channel for free. Check that out and really start creating some relevance in your relationship where the dog believes that you matter.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Yeah?
Oh, we'll go back. Hi, Andy. Alice says hi.
Hi,
Up at Tails Inn.
Hi, Alice.
Hi, Andy.
And just give a little throw out to them as well if you're ever looking for a local boarding facility. Really, the only place that we recommend is Tails Inn. The folks up there are phenomenal. The care to the dogs is just, unmatched.
Mm-hmm.
When we need to board our own dogs, that's where we go. So if you do, need that, they're located up on Diagonal Road.
Out in Rathdrum.
Out in Rathdrum, and just a phenomenal. Even if you're further away in Spokane or something like that,
it's worth it.
It is absolutely worth it because the level of care and consideration to the dogs is just bar none. I mean,
we board our own dogs there, so
yeah, phenomenal.
It says a lot.
Tell Andy that we sent you, and she'll just say thank you.
That's funny. Leia, people are saying happy belated birthday to you.
What?
Do you remember Clover's mom? She bought you those gifts?
Yeah.
She says hi.
Hi, Clover's mom.
She says hi, Clover's mom. Okay, scrolling down. Haley on Facebook. I have to keep looking up at that because I don't know what phone I'm looking at. I have a Malamute and a Husky that play pretty rough with each other. Any tricks for training softer play? You might have to leave leashes on for a little while. And what I mean by that is they need to play in a smaller room for a little while. So a room that you can easily reach side to side. They're going to play with like simple slip leads or something on. But I want you to give a word that says break it up. And you're going to say that word nice and loud. And then I want you to go grab the leashes and pull the dogs apart every single time that you say it. So, when I'm socializing board and train dogs, sometimes I have 5 or 6 dogs out. Usually it's 2 or 3 stable helper dogs, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 unstable dogs. And if I sense any type of tension, or I sense that the play is getting too rough or whatever, my dogs don't necessarily need a correction per se, where I'm going to use my nope marker to correct the dog, but I do want to interrupt the energy because I feel that the energy is getting a little bit sour. So I have a marker that's hey, and so I teach dogs every time you hear the word hey, I'm going to come break you up and I'm going to pull you apart. So I want dogs to already start associating the breaking apart with that word. So my 3 dogs know it extremely well. If I say, hey, they just completely split in the room, and I teach the board and trains that as well, so that if I sense anything getting even a little bit testy or going a little bit too far, I said, hey, and all dogs split up and they kind of just, disperse throughout the room. All the energy comes back down and then they can go back to playing. So leaving those leashes on, and I say using a smaller room for a while, because if a dog's getting kind of tangled up on leash or whatever, you want to be able to be right there to grab that leash and, if they unwrap the foot or whatever, because dogs are dogs. But if they're all the way across the yard and they're getting tangled up in leashes and stuff like that, you're not going to have enough time to be able to intervene with that. So a nice small room, teach them what hey means, and then you can start expanding upon that. Hi from Washington. Hello.
Liz 2150.
Liz 2150. My dog loves rabbits. How do I get his attention off the rabbit to continue walking? You can if you're walking on leash, you can definitely do that V-turn that we've been talking about. Go check out our YouTube page for a full tutorial on how to do that V-turn to really interrupt your dog, especially when they're just zoning out on something. Super, super valuable. Go check it out. Kyle P. Wright. What are your reasons for using an e-collar? How do you decide if it's the right for your dog? We would not recommend an e-collar for your dog. We use e-collars on all the dogs that we train here. We recommend really, really building clear communication with your dog on leash, with body, with verbal markers, with verbal commands, so that you have all those languages in place. And then if you want to seek e-collar training and it's something you want to do on your own, if you've gone through all of our classes and you want to attend our e-collar seminar, you're more than welcome to. But we do not recommend to anybody that they just start using an e-collar on their dog. It's an incredibly intricate language that needs to be taught the correct way. We use them because the e-collar becomes a Bluetooth leash. So everything that we can train with the leash, we can train on the e-collar as well, so that I can have a dog that is off leash and fully responsive. So people see that all the time in our videos. How can we get a dog that responds to everything, and how can we be totally confident that the dog is always going to respond? Is because I essentially have a leash on the dog. It's just been trained in a different way. And so people see them as correction tools and stuff like that, and it's nothing like that. We teach it exactly how we teach our leash pressure, but it becomes a Bluetooth leash. So if I ask the dog to sit or down or come or heel or place, I can do all of those things through the e-collar the same way that I do with the leash. So really cool, awesome stuff. What's the best way to handle a reactive dog when passing others on a trail?
Sierra Schulte.
Yes, Sierra. On a trail where there's not a lot of open space to change direction. That is a tough one. You're going to have to do the 50% advocacy, 50% discipline rule. So pull the dog off to the side, stand between the dog and the people going by. You're going to correct the dog for being reactive, and you're also doing your part to advocate for the dog. So apparently Instagram is telling us that our live is about to turn off. So go check us out on Facebook. We're still running on Facebook. Or maybe is that what it's for?
No.
All right, so we got Facebook. Instagram doesn't like going that long. I wonder what time it is anyway. Oh, it's because it's probably got an hour marker. Joette Cochran. My daughter's Jack Russell has severe separation anxiety. How does grandma handle this situation when mama is gone? That's a tough one, and it's really going to be something that your daughter's going to have to work on as well. My suggestion for your daughter is to take away affection, physical affection, from the dog for an entire month. So that's going to help with a lot of things. Joette, what you can start doing is, as soon as your daughter's going to leave and you know that things are going to escalate, get that dog on place command and keep that dog there. Don't let them give into that behavior. Don't let them give into that mindset. Teach them to work through it and cycle all the way down. Check out our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube for a lot of information on place command, how to teach it, what it does, all that sort of stuff. Angie Willstew. Our dog likes to slowly paw at us and climb on us in our face as if we do not see him. Best way to break it. I don't know if it's slow. Your dog, you might have an insecure dog. So we have a dog in board and train right now. Very insecure dog. She does that and she's looking for comfort and she kind of goes up there. It's not something that I would be firm with my correction. I would leave a leash on the dog anytime that you are with the dog in this capacity. And if the dog is kind of creeping up, I would give a simple nope and I would kind of just pull the dog off. I would withdraw all my affection every single time that they did that. But keep it very soft. If it is a slow kind of incremental type thing, you probably don't have a super over the top pushy dog. It's probably a softer dog that is a little bit more genteel. You need to make sure that you're not damaging the relationship or causing your dog to become more insecure with people and things like that, or developing any more sensitivity or anything like that. So just be a little bit soft, but try to make your message clear.
Did you like that move, how I was sitting here and I just threw my arm around her? When Stephanie and I first got together, we were at the movies and I pulled that maneuver and she was not having it. So she was just like...
Yeah, he thought he was smooth even back then.
You married me.
Yeah, I know. Let's see, Alma, how about stand on the leash sometimes when you stand still? So when the dog jumps, it would be correcting himself and jumping up. But if you need to walk, just pick up. I've never seen that work, Alma. I've seen a lot of people attempt to do that. I've never seen... You can try it. If it works for your dog, that's awesome. I have not seen it work before.
Thank you, Robin.
You have a fan.
She advocated for me. Thank you.
Don't poke him or praise him.
I don't get enough of that.
Hi, Robin. I hope you folks are doing well. We miss you guys.
So on that note, I'll tell you a funny little story. One time we were sitting on the couch, and Stephanie was talking to me, and while we're talking, I realized that she was speaking to me as if she was giving me commands, as if I was a dog. And I said to her, I'm like, you're trying to coach me right now. And she's just like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, you absolutely are. And she gets up from the couch. She looks at me and she goes, place. And then she walks away. It was very, very funny. Very cute. Yep.
He lies.
That's a true story.
Casey, do you have any suggestions for training a dog not to bark when someone knocks at the door or comes in? He will continue to bark in place, although not as much. There's a lot of different ways to address this, and you can kind of pick and choose. You can ring the doorbell. You can correct the dog for barking, so pop on the leash or something like that says don't bark, and then you can go send them to their place. You can teach your dog a recall, a come command. So every time the doorbell goes off, call your dog. So be in the back bedroom, call your dog, and give him a high value reward. Yes, good job! Because then the doorbell will go off and your dog will start to expect to be called, so they'll try to seek you out. That's another way of doing it. It depends on the dog. Not all things work with certain dogs, and things work with other dogs. So it's just going to be kind of a mix and match. But I would suggest knocking a lot when there's nobody at the door, constantly kind of just dumbing down that sound, regardless of what way the dog looks best or learns best. That's going to help. Cooking and science, we need to switch kids. Ha! We would take Alice. She's cute.
She's super cute.
Someone thinks you're hilarious.
That is hilarious.
They might be laughing at you. I don't know.
That's okay. I'm comfortable with
I have Lori. Sorry, I have a Hurricane Harvey rescue who I got at 1 month old. He is now 3 and still very insecure, fearful of most people, and expresses fear aggression with men. Do a lot of sitting and watching. Go a lot of places. Pick a spot that's near where all the people are, but off a little bit. Have your dog just sit and watch. Anytime they want to escalate in energy, pull up on your leash, keep them in that sit, keep them nice and relaxed, and just teach them to watch. 100% advocacy. Don't let anybody get in that dog space, and you're going to start to see the issues come down. But if you have a dog that came from a really terrible situation, that had a really poor upbringing, likely had terrible nutrition, and everything during those early stages, those really formative times, you probably going to be dealing with a fearful, insecure dog for life. That doesn't mean that it can't get better, and it doesn't mean that it can't get manageable, but lots of exposure, lots of advocacy, and then, if it was an abort and train situation, we'd have lots of other steps, but those are the starting steps that I would recommend for you. Jessica, you helped a lot. Thank you. You're absolutely welcome. Stephanie, once we started fostering, our 4-year-old dog started pooping and peeing in our closet. What do we do?
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night, yeah. Your dog is ultra stressed with the new dogs being there. If it's in the middle of the night, I would go back to crate training your dog and start getting them back onto a set routine, and hopefully they hold it in the crate and they can retrain their body to getting back into the swing of things. You just have to be really mindful that every time you switch fosters or something like that, it's going to be difficult for your dog. Try to keep everything as uniform as possible, even with the new dog coming into the house, and that'll help. Tabby, I have one question. How do you stop one dog biting the other dog if people walk by, or if another dog walks by? You have a dog that can't control their arousal. So you need to start teaching them that everything is permission-based, and you get nothing unless you are calm. This goes for food. This goes for affection. That goes playtime, getting in the car, getting out of the car, going in the house, getting out of the house, putting the leash on, walking the dog. It goes for how they interact with guests, how they interact with another, how they play with their toys. Everything is permission-based, and they get permission when they are calm and relaxed. This is going to help your dog. You don't have a walk issue. You have a whole life issue right now. You've got to put all of those fires out in order to address that. Your dog does not know how to control their stimulation level.
So the question on this one for Shay is, where do you get Mountain Paw? So Mountain Paw is actually Mountain Paw Pet Supply. They're located here in Post Falls. Their actual address is 724 Highway 41. Sweet Sea. They have a beautiful logo. It's a beautiful store, so you can't miss it. It is on the same side of the highway as Popeyes and Sonic. So I think it's actually in between them. So
Yeah.
you really can't miss them. So phenomenal people over there, and we just can't speak highly enough. Their actual logo, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but that's them. Anyway, Mountain Paw Pet Supply. So,
All right, folks, we have lives, okay? So I have time for one more question. Deborah Palmer, we are here. We have an 8-month-old Rottweiler. He is so strong and so protective over us. We need a new trainer. We took him to a trainer, but didn't work out. Help. Deborah, give us a call. Send us an email or fill out a contact form on our website.
The very best thing, honestly, is to fill out the contact form on the website. So if you go to methodk9.com, so METHOD, the letter K, the numeral 9.com, and click the contact form, or I think it's
contact or register or get in touch with us.
So you click that, and it's going to bring up a form that basically fills out all the information that we're going to need. And what that does is it helps us expedite giving you a phone call back. It gives you an opportunity to explain really what's going on. A lot of times I'm able to answer the vast majority of the calls. I don't do any of the training, but Stephanie's been doing this for so long that I know the majority of the roads that we're going to go down. All ultimate behavioral questions or concerns or decisions she makes. But a lot of times we're able to get those things fielded out for you a lot faster. So since she's working with the dogs as much as she is, I typically field the call initially, make sure that we answer any other questions, dial everything down. And when Stephanie gets on the phone with you at that point, she's really able to give you a tremendous amount of information in a very short period of time. So do that, and that's going to be the very best thing. Otherwise, if you want to give us a call, you're welcome to do so. It's 208-964-4806, or you can send us an email at info@methodk9.com. But really, filling out the contact form is going to be the best thing. I'm going to spool through these really quick, and we're going to take one more random question.
And who will be the lucky winner?
It's just wherever it stops. Right.
Oh, wherever it stops. Look how many questions are back
I know.
there.
Tammy Cannon.
Oh, Tammy got lucky. Tammy, best tips when bringing home a new puppy. We brought home a 14-week-old Newfoundland puppy a few weeks ago. He is the opposite of active. Well, then enjoy that. Sometimes puppies can be really, really difficult. But the best tips right now is build a confident dog. So get him around stuff, around new sounds and different textures under his feet. So make him walk on top of water bottles and concrete and gravel and all that sort of stuff. Get him used to kind of getting in and out of the car. Don't ever push your puppy too far, too fast. Try to make everything a game. Don't let kids and people and other dogs overwhelm your puppy. Your puppy needs a lot of sleep. They need a lot of downtime. So little tiny bits of interaction here and there. Make sure that every interaction goes perfectly and leave it up to the puppy. If the puppy wants to go approach someone, great. Tell the person that we'll wait for my puppy to approach you. If the person wants to engage with the puppy and the puppy says, I don't feel good about this, that's it. That's done. Hey, my puppy didn't approach you. That's all we're going to do. So many things go bad in those really, really early stages. So just take it nice and slow. You always want quality over quantity when it comes to socialization. So that's the most important thing when your dog hits about 4, 4.5, 5 months old. Then you can really start looking into getting some obedience under their belt.
And as far as I see, there's a bunch of questions here about the boarding the dogs. So I just want to make sure that we get that, because literally under here, Susie, Jen, a bunch of other people asking questions. So the place is Tails in Kennels. So Tails, Tails, in INN Kennels. They're located, like we said, on 2888 West Diagonal Road in Rathdrum. If you decide to call them, their phone number, and Andy, I'm calling you by accident, it's 208-687-7024. So 208-687-7024. If you answer a random Legend of Zelda question, Andy will give you a crisp high five upon arrival. So that's what we have there for you. There you go.
All right, folks, we do have to. We love you, Andy.
And let us know if you want more of this, because if you want her to do more of these, we're going to start scheduling them on maybe like a bi-weekly or a monthly basis. So if this is something you like, let us know so we can get that scheduled.
I'm sorry about all the people that are still asking questions. We've got tons and tons, but yeah. Did you zoom in on my face? Don't do that.
But you're beautiful.
No. I found my first gray hair the other day. It was right there. Gray hair. It was the worst day of my life. Okay, hold on.
Hi, Brittany.
Hey, Dan. How are you? Long time no see. We
Dan.
missed those girls. Man, when is our follow-up session? Hey, Brittany. Brittany was our shadow student in this last round. Nice to see you again. Teresa, hi you guys. I must be confusing Lotus using the e-collar for healing. She does great with all other commands. I keep going back to 180s, but she won't feel when going on longer walks. Won't heal when going on longer walks. Teresa, go back to your heal command video, and you're gonna introduce the e-collar with the S turn. So the low level taps with the S turn. So go back to that video, watch it again, let her kind of sail ahead, tap, 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 just kind of like you would with your leash pressure, and get her back into that S turn, as many times as it takes. Just a nice fluid motion, helping her understand that moving forward is not what we're looking for. We're just trying to get her to move back.
All right, that's it.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate all of it. Oh, Hope is watching. We better get off now. She's going to start making fun of us. All right. Thank you all. Hope you have a good night. Stay safe. Stay healthy. We will see you. We're going to try to do this next time. And if you have further questions, you can email us. You can message us and all that other sort of stuff. I'll do my best, but we're going to try to do more of these because there are so many questions from so many people all the time.
And then somebody right here is going to bed.
Bye-bye.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Have a good night. Bye.